down to business.
When he drinks, he thinks.
That's the nectar of the gods, baby.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the #1 liquid-fueled, liquid-lubricated show on the interwebs. This is the Whiskey Musings broadcast, and I am your thankful for the little things host, Rick. You know, tonight I've got something special. I'm always trying to improve the show and always trying to add features and functionality. And tonight I actually have a feature, and unfortunately it's not quite working across all of the platforms. However, it is working for my primary platform, Rumble. So this should work out quite well for tonight. And I'll show you a little bit. I'll show you what that is in just a minute. But first of all, we have to, I have to give a shout out. I had a wonderful thing happen to me on Monday. And for those of you that don't know, I watched the Mark Kaye show, or I listen, I should say, and try and watch and chat at the same time with the Mark Kaye show. They are a conservative radio host out of Florida. And I try to watch fairly religiously. I do appreciate it. They kind of took the place of Rush in that noon to 3 hour Eastern. For me on the West Coast, it's 9 to noon. And I watched them, and something really surprising happened. I've got more on that in just a moment as well. For those of you who are attending, who are Catriots who were there that day and have seen that episode, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I've still got something a little bit later on the show, so stay tuned. Hang on. Also, we have a couple of very, very wonderful things that have popped up, and it's all about the little things. Honestly, when you're in a struggle, a fight, a war, a scenario such as what we are here today, in today's day and age, you have got to seriously take note of the little things that are going on that are the wins. Dan Bongino calls them posting our W's. And I have to agree with him, honestly. I have to agree with the fact that we need to celebrate when we get these wins, however small. We do need to celebrate them. And it's because of the fact that we can get excited over the idea and the fact that these wins are occurring for us in the conservative movement. And, you know, to be honest, in the past, especially the most recent past, we haven't had a lot of wins. We've had some, 4 years. We had 4 years of a good run for a little while, but, unfortunately it came crashing to an end. We can argue over how and why and everything else, but it came crashing to an end about a year and a half ago. And, so it's kind of difficult sometimes to stay on track and stay focused and understand that we need to celebrate the fact that we do have some wins. We have some wonderful things going on, even though there's a lot of things that are happening that are kind of bleak right now. Inflation and the whole Ukraine thing. You have the January 6th, fake trial, whatever you want to call it, because they're calling it an insurrection. You've got that going on. You've got, the Twitter, the whole Twitter thing, which I'm still suspended for whatever reason. And you've got, free speech and cancellation and cancel culture and things like that. But all of that, you still have to kind of chalk up and look at the wins. We got to look inside the things that are going on. We have to look inside and post our W's, even the smallest one. I'm stealing that from Dan Bongino, but still, you get the point. The other thing is that for tonight as well. I keep getting asked, where do you get some of your information? What kinds of things do you read? So for that, I've compiled a bit of a list. It's in the show notes. If you go to, rumble.com, go to my channel, it'll be in the show description there. It should also show up in the YouTube side if you happen to not like Rumble and go to YouTube. But there's a list of places and things that I look for conservative values. Just about all of them are free, unless, of course, you decide to get a subscription to, the newspaper or something like that. But just about all of them are free. So it's really easy to just go and find these locations, go to these places. I think a lot of them, everybody, most conservatives are already looking at and already watching. But to be honest with you, I keep getting asked about that. And so I'm going to go ahead and I figured I'd put them in there and I'll discuss them a little bit in a few minutes and a little bit later on. But first, I have to go ahead and do this for, my affiliates. We always have to do this for the affiliates. So the Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit with one mission: to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed using primary source documents and taught from the American view of law and government as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. 2, our rights come from him. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure and protect our God-given rights. The IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, theamericanview.com/#whiskeymusings to sign up. And while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. My affiliate link, once again, is theamericanview.com/#whiskeymusings to get great content to learn about our historical founding and support the show in the process. That's theamericanview.com/#whiskeymusings. The American View is all one word, all lowercase. The Whiskey Musings is also all one word, all lowercase. Go check them out today. And I do have my affiliate links finally in the description down below. But I also want to bring this up just because I've been given permission to do so. This is from the Institute on the Constitution. This is the Constitution of the United States in a saddleback leather binding. This is a relatively, it's probably about 1/8 of an inch. It's got nice, long-lasting pages. There's the thick pages inside. They do stitching, as you can see, for the binding. It goes all the way through both the leather and the paper. And I have just found out, just prior to the show, that one of my avid listeners, Buddy Weiser on Rumble, Buddy Weiser gives this a 5-star review. He just received his today. He purchased it, and thank you, Buddy, for supporting not only the show, but also supporting the Institute on the Constitution and making it so that we both can benefit from your patriotism and conservatism. We thank you very much for that. And I appreciate them for allowing me to be an affiliate. All right. So next up on our agenda here is, of course, on this day in American history. And of course, on this day in American history, we read from the American Patriots Almanac. This is the book about all kinds of historical facts and figures. They put it in the they stick it in there, and they put it in a day by day by day format. And so we read from it, we take a look at it, and we learn a little bit about American history on this segment. Tonight is April 23rd, and we are going to talk about the U.S. Military Reserve. On April 23rd, 1908, President Theodore Roosevelt created a new component within the U.S. Army, the Medical Reserve Corps. In an age when disease and infection killed more soldiers than battle wounds, the new corps of 360 medical professionals stood ready to become active duty officers with the Army in times of conflict. That corps was the beginning of the U.S. military's Federal Reserve Force. During the next several years, the Army created additional reserve corps to fight and perform other duties when needed. Today, more than 430,000 Americans serve in the Federal Military Reserve for the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard. These ready-to-go civilians put on uniforms once a month or more to train and help maintain day-to-day operations for the military. The president can call them to active service anytime to help meet a national emergency. In recent years, thousands of reservists have left their families' jobs, and personal lives to fight terrorism overseas. U.S. military reserve troops and National Guard troops perform very similar duties, and National Guard troops are also frequently referred to as, quote, reserves. The main difference is that the U.S. military reserve is controlled by the federal government, and National Guard units answer to state governments, except when called into federal service by the president. In many ways, reservists form the backbone of the U.S. military. Many are highly trained specialists who serve in roles that range from pilots to field doctors to logistics officers. When the nation goes to war, some of the most critical tasks are carried out by reservists. The United States could not engage in a major conflict without these men and women who are ready to go into harm's way for their country. To be a reservist, it is said, is to be twice a citizen. And that is April 23rd's the U.S. Military Reserve Day in American history. All right. Now, I have also been told and chastised before, so tonight I am going to, as I get the book out of my hands, I am going to show you what I am drinking tonight. Tonight is my favorite Redbreast. Ooh, that is horrible. Redbreast single pot still. It's a 12-year Irish whiskey. 12-year meaning 12 years aged. And that is what I'm drinking tonight. It is actually one of my favorites. I can't really rank between it and Private Reserve, Black Barrel. Jameson Black Barrel is my other one. The other one that I like, and those two are kind of they're a little neck and neck in terms of what's going on. But I wanted to bring this up because here. So I don't know if you've noticed, but this has been missing. My social media popping up every so often, and of course it's going to wait because it just went away. But if you've looked back at a couple of my other videos, that's been missing. I don't know why it broke. Honestly, I really don't. But I was able to bring it back up. But as a part of investigating that, I also have this. Take a look at that right up above it, right here. This is this is part of the chat. And so what I can now do is I can not only see the chat, but I'm supposed to be able to see it across all the platforms that I stream to. Unfortunately, I did something wrong. So right now I cannot see YouTube and I cannot see Facebook. But what I can do is once I am able to do that, and once they're all tied together, I can grab chats and I can pop them up either above or below, depending upon what scene I'm on. So that is I've been waiting for a while, and that is put together. I'm going to mincemeat his last name, so I'm not even going to say it, but he's the guy that created VDO.Ninja. It is a WebRTC video conferencing application. It is peer-to-peer, doesn't need a server, that kind of stuff. He also created this called Social Stream, and this is just incredible. The only drawback that I think I see so far is the fact that I do have to, and yes, here you go, buddy. There it is. There's the test. I do have to have it open in Chrome, Google Chrome, which isn't, some people don't like Google Chrome. But that's fine. I mean, whatever works. And eventually, once I get it cross platform, meaning, both YouTube as well as, Facebook, once I get that working properly, I'll be able to do this. And I'm not sure if it is showing just yet, because it may not. I may have to update. So I do have to figure out a little bit. I have to figure out what's going on with that in terms of why it's not working. But that was my big surprise. I kind of let a little slip on the Mark Kaye show the other day. Kind of was like, hey, I'm excited to show a new feature. This is what the feature is. It's working. I'm trying to work it out. And sooner or later, what it's going to happen is I'll be able to move myself out of the way like I did. And you'll be able to see all of the chats from all of the streaming locations. And I'll be able to interact with my viewers a lot more that way. So that is, I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for it because, like I said, I've been waiting around for that to happen for quite some time. So the other thing too is once I get them all kind of linked up, it will actually allow me to chat or send messages to all of them at the same time. So that's another thing. Once I figure out what the heck I did wrong here. Anyway, so that's like I said, I keep trying to improve my user experience. I am trying to get things going, because of you guys. I mean, I have had a wonderful time, and this is really kind of falls into the theme for tonight. It's the little things that make the difference. And the little things, in my mind, while you're not little, you're very important, but the little things that you do in terms of coming here, spending time, eventually coming along and maybe being generous and doing some sponsorships, or not sponsorships necessarily, but buying things from, my affiliates, like the Constitution of the United States and the leather. Those kinds of things, they all help the show. And it's those little things that are absolutely wonderful. And I've got a new person in the chat. Hello, Shannon. Good evening to you. I'm not going to say your entire screen name or, totally embarrass you by popping you up on, but I wanted to say good evening because you said hello to me. All right. So what else do we have in terms of little things? What else matters in terms of little things? Well, we have a couple of actually fairly big things. I don't know if anybody noticed, and those of you who are not part of Florida's, the state of Florida or watching Florida politics. The super governor, Ron DeSantis, announced earlier on that he was going to focus on getting rid of Disney's special districting. Now, what that special districting basically did is the special districting allows Disney to sort of do kind of whatever they want, carte blanche, within their 25,000 acre park or whatever. And so, they handle all of their police, their fire, and all of those things. They also, at the same time, because of that, they pay low taxes. Well, after the whole thing about Disney arguing with the state in regards to the parental rights and education bill, totally falsely named the Don't Say Gay bill. after the company got involved, they, Ron DeSantis basically said, okay, fine. You want to do that? Well, then you're going to have to start paying your own taxes and paying your share. Now, I don't know if he actually thought that, but I would imagine that was probably something on his mind. He was like, you've had some very special privileges down here, and now you're starting to get involved in our local politics in a place that you probably shouldn't play in. And so we're going to go ahead and take care of that for you. Now, toward the end of the week this week, about midweek, the Senate passed the bill stating that they were going to abolish those special districts. And it, ironically, it's not just Disney. So I can't deceive you there because, I like to try and be truthful on this show. But I can't deceive you with that. It wasn't just Disney, but Disney was a part of it. There were several other special districts that are part of Florida that had existed prior to 1968. And apparently the Senate decided that was it. We're done. We're over with. Okay. Now, that then went over to the House of Representatives, because of course you have to have, not only the Senate, but the House, approve the bills. And so because of that, the House voted on it. Now there's videos, and I don't have it here with me tonight because most of my videos, whenever I get them, I grab them off of Twitter, which of course I'm suspended for. So unfortunately, I don't have the videos, but there were several people in the House of Representatives, whether they were, activists, the public, I don't know, but they were making very loud noises. They were shouting things out. They were being disruptive over the vote on the districting, and it didn't matter. The House of Representatives, Florida House of Representatives, went ahead and voted it through. So it went to the governor's desk, and I'm not really too sure. This was on Friday when this happened, so I'm not too sure whether he signed it yet or not, but I can guarantee you, based on what he was talking about the entire time, I'm fairly certain he is going to sign that bill. And that actually, that's a win. That's a win for conservatives. That's a win to fight back against, large corporations and their basically being corrupt, and they're being pushed into certain directions by a very small number of people. And they're making things really more and more difficult. I mean, they've already been losing some of their stock and everything else. And then of course you have Twitter. And Twitter has actually been censoring our speech, conservatives in particular, because, and it's been proven time and time again. So there's nothing really surprising there. However, what is surprising is that Elon Musk just announced not too long ago that he has actually secured the funding to tender a cash offer, his cash offer that he put out. He actually has the funds now. It's not that he has to do anything, to sell stock or whatever. He actually has the funds. Now, how he got it there, that's still a little unclear. They're guessing. There is some suggestion that maybe he got a hold of some banking and investment firms and have it basically all kind of combined in order to do this. But he is one step closer to actually tendering an offer on Twitter. Now, why is that important? Well, that's important because of the fact, and I'm sure everybody's heard in the news, Elon has made it very, very clear that he believes that Twitter is actually the de facto town square. And by that, he's talking about the idea that the town square is where we as people, all people, conservatives, liberal, leftist, right wing, whatever, we have to have the right to be able to express ourselves according to the First Amendment. And the idea is that the First Amendment applied to the town square, meaning that if you're out in public, you can pretty much say, just about whatever you want. There are some exceptions, granted, but you can, as long as you're not, promoting violence, saying you're going to do harm to another, that kind of thing. Generally speaking, free speech is allowed. And so he's made it very clear that he believes that Twitter by itself is now the de facto town square. And so what he wants to do is he wants to buy Twitter. He wants to take it over. He wants to run it, and he wants to put it basically back into more of the public hands. He wants to open source. And by that, he means to make public and transparent the algorithms that are used in order to basically limit posting, free speech kind of things. What does the algorithm do to make it so that, maybe your post doesn't get boosted enough or something, or another post gets boosted higher than yours. And so that's one of the things that he wants to do with it. He wants to open source those algorithms so that everybody basically understands and knows exactly how those things work. Now he had, just to kind of catch you up, he had a offer put out, and he essentially, was saying that he was going to buy it. The board went and did what they call the poison pill, which basically is an effort. I'm not going to go into details. I talked about it last week, but they put in an effort to try and block him from buying up the stock. And so now he's got the money. Now, the thing about it is with the poison pill, and this is something that still is kind of out there, and this is going to bring Super Governor Ron DeSantis back into play. But the whole thing about the tender offer is that the board actually has what's called a fiduciary responsibility toward the shareholders. So by the board saying no to the offer, however good it was, they basically said that, hey, we're waiting on something a little bit better. But the challenge here was that Musk actually did a pretty good offer. I mean, he was offering something, I think the numbers were around 38% higher than what the stock's value actually was when he tendered the offer. Now, Super Governor Ron DeSantis has now taken a look at this and is saying, you know what? I'm going to check in to see if there are some Floridians, because apparently some of the state funds do buy stocks for their 401ks and so on and so forth. And it turns out that those mutual funds that they buy also have stakes in companies like Twitter. And so he's checking into all of this to see if he actually has a legal case to go after the board for their fiduciary responsibility. We're going to have to keep an eye on that one, because that's going to be kind of interesting. Now, another thing that's been kind of tossing around, obviously, has been the Hunter laptop, and the whole suppression of the Hunter laptop. That came from Twitter. That's kind of what embroiled Twitter into all of this. But I'm going to bring this up, and let's hope I don't trigger. But I think I'm going to nope. Okay. So I'm going to bring this up, and this is really, really key. So if you, sorry, let me backtrack, because this isn't about the Hunter laptop. This is actually about the collusion, Russian collusion thing with the Durham case. Sorry, I jumped ahead. The Hunter Biden laptop and stuff like that is, I've been reading the book, Laptop from Hell. That's why I kind of got trapped in that. So I apologize. So let me move on. So this is about the Durham filing. Now, for the record, I don't necessarily believe that this is actually going to come from or come to anything. However, that being said, I would like to see it pop up. And it's little things like this that make the difference in terms of whether or not this is really going to go somewhere. This is from Technofog, and Dan Bongino actually brought it up. This is from Technofog, and if you look at the title pretty much says it all. CIA bombshell. The Sussman data was, quote, user created. Now, if you get a chance to go over to Technofog's Substack, it's called The Reactionary. You can subscribe and you can pay, but you also can just sign up and get notifications of new things. But Technofog has really been focusing on this. He has been bringing out some really serious information from the legal documents that have come out. And this bombshell is actually incredibly, again, it's a big thing. Now, just to kind of tie this in, the reason why is because if you recall, Sussman tried to hand off what we think or what we believe was faked data that connected Trump Tower with Alpha Bank, the Russian bank, major bank company. And if you recall, I did an episode not too long ago. I can't remember the number right off the top of my head, but I did an episode not too long ago where Alpha Bank was actually suing as well in conjunction with the whole Durham investigation and Durham filing. Well, one of the things that first came out was the fact that Sussman not only dropped that data on the FBI, but he also gave it over to the CIA and was trying to convince the CIA that, hey, this is real. This is something that you should be looking into because, of course, the CIA deals with foreign entities trying to attack us while the FBI pretty much is focused homeland, okay, in the homeland, inside the United States. Not necessarily saying that they can't go outside, but they typically function within the borders of the United States. Now, this is a huge bombshell right here. The fact that the Sussman data, according to the CIA, once they saw it, they believed it was user created and not machine created, like Michael Sussman was alluding to, was the fact that this data was supposed to be machine created. This is huge. I mean, I'm in tech, and like I said, you should check out my other one. I kind of explain what's going on in terms of the DNS servers and so on and so forth. So go back and check that out. Check out that episode. But this is huge. The fact that the CIA believed that it was user created and not machine created, well, that just gives more credibility to the Durham investigation. And so that's a huge thing. It's a very small thing because it just popped up. And you can read the Reactionary. You can get all the data. You can get all of the breakdown. I mean, he does, Technofog does an awesome job. In fact, I don't have him listed in my list, but he does an awesome job on a lot of this stuff. And you should really take a look at this. But that is a big deal. It's a small thing. It's a little thing, but it's a big deal because, again, that lends more credence to the idea that the Russian collusion hoax was a hoax. And I'm sorry, I look like I'm distracted here because I'm trying to bring up the Epoch Times actually picked up on this as well. And let me just show you that they picked up on it. And oh goodness, right here. So they actually picked up on it and kind of have a position on it too. Now I have the Epoch Times listed in my list of those places that I get my information from. One thing about the Epoch Times you need to understand is their roots are from Chinese dissidents trying to get away from the CCP. So they do tend to lean a lot more to, China's, some China articles and things like that about China and stuff like that. So there is a little bit of that in there, but they have a U.S. contingent and they really have focused on things like corruption and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of good articles in there. Again, you can sign up you can read it for free online, or you can grab a subscription. I also have the print subscription. It comes out once a week. And has a few different articles in comparison to the online version. But this is another place where I gain information. And as you can see here, the Durham filing reveals the CIA knew in early 2017 that data tying Trump to Russia was fake. So again, conspiracy theories are now turning into spoiler alerts. This is what they are, popping up, and they're starting to come out. This is just getting, it's it's really, really exciting to see these things come out. Now, again, I don't know for a fact if I am, if any of this is going to do anything for anyone. Honestly, in terms of the Durham investigation, if it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, there's not much that anybody can really do about that. However, it is good to see this information starting to come to light. And yes, it's not part of the mainstream media, but a lot of that stuff doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as the truth comes out. And as you can see, there are things like the Hunter Biden laptop where, again, the New York Post posted the article back in October of 2020, right before the elections. It was deemed fake, and you had the 51 intelligence people that signed off on it as fake, but yet later on the New York Times and the Washington Post were forced into saying that yes, the Hunter laptop is actually real. So when you start seeing those little things coming out, and Dan Bongino kind of mentions it, he says that it's the trick, it's the drip theory, where they totally deny it, and then all of a sudden the truth starts dripping. Just drip, drip, drip. And then pretty soon you're going to have like a whole bucket full of information. And so it's these little drips, these little droplets that are coming out that we need to focus on and take heart, because again, it's the little things that make the difference. Now, one other thing that popped up, and this comes from a left-leaning outlet. This is kind of amazing. To be honest with you, I was sort of shocked to see this, but the whole concept that everybody talks about in terms of gun control, the lefties and the liberals, they all want to talk about how the Second Amendment has to deal with hunting. It has nothing to do with protecting yourself. And, we've got all these guns and we should do gun buyback programs because, Australia did it and it worked quite well for them, so on and so forth. Well, check out this article from CNN. And I got to bring it up. Check this out. So this popped up just recently on April 16th in 2022. Gun buybacks take weapons out of circulation, but experts say there's no evidence the programs actually reduced violence. Now, this is really interesting, that not only is a left-leaning organization like CNN, the Clinton News Network, not whatever they call themselves, but that they're actually pulling this out and they're actually making a statement. And they actually talked to a couple of people in Chicago, Illinois in particular about this. And so, we've, as conservatives, we've kind of been saying, look, I hate to tell you this. I wish that this wasn't such a big thing, but I hate to tell you this. However, getting guns off the street is not going to stop these people. Criminals are going to criminal. They're just going to do it until they get caught and punished for what they're doing. And I'm sorry, I'm just kind of chuckling. I just spotted this. The quote 357 Magnum that's sitting on the top of this pile here at the very top of this photo, with the wooden handle. There's a slot. You can kind of see it. I don't know if you can. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, I can't. So there's a slot right in front of the revolving part where the bullets would normally go. And that actually is a pellet pistol. I had the same one when I was a kid. That is not an actual 357 gun. That's kind of funny that they have that in here. And it looks like they have some other airsoft stuff in here in this photo too. I don't know where they got the photo, but whatever. The point is that the gun buybacks, taking the weapons out of circulation, that's true. But experts are saying, again, that the programs, there's no evidence that they actually reduce any violence. So once again, those of us on the conservative side who have basically said, look, until you actually prosecute these people and put these people in jail and make it harder for them to actually commit the crime, meaning the punishment is harder for them to actually commit the crime versus them, being able to just go and get bailed out right away. That's the only thing that is going to make this scenario really any better and make things go away appropriately. But, you know, for whatever reason, they want to defund the police and so on and so forth for whatever reason, despite all information and, you know, polling data and everything else from all of these people, you know, from low income neighborhoods and everything else, saying things and talking about them. And actually, I'm not the only one that popped it up. Buddy, apparently. Buddy, here we go. I got to use this. So yeah, he puts up, he says, I see a Crossman in that photo. Yep. Yeah. So they apparently had BB guns in there too. I would imagine that it was kind of just a weapons buyback program, or maybe it was an evidence bag or something, an evidence locker or something like that. But anyway, so now, you know, I've kind of been mentioning, I mentioned the Epoch Times. I mentioned, as far as like conservative places to go, I mentioned the Epoch Times. I mentioned Technofog. I also have subscribed to some conservative locations and get essentially free, newsletters and things like that. Some of these come in actual print form, like this one. This is Imprimus. This is a periodical, comes out once a month from Hillsdale College, and Hillsdale College is a conservative college. They do not take any amount, from what I understand, they don't take any federal money, and they focus on a lot of conservative values, and they have, you know, the proper like U.S. Constitution classes and things like that. But Imprimus basically is an excerpt from, and this one happens to be from January of 2022, but it's basically an excerpt of speeches, articles, things like that. They condense it, they put it into the actual magazine, they send it out to you. You can also get it digital. Imprimus is great. It also brings up one of my favorite people, and I think Dan Bongino's the one that kind of put me on it, but Thomas Sowell, as an example. I got to get my angles right here. But Thomas Sowell, the continuing importance of Thomas Sowell. Thomas Sowell is a great educator, but he is also an economist who used to be a Marxist at one point and changed himself because he saw what Marxism was doing. And it's you know, it's a good little periodical. It comes, like I said, it comes once a month. This is their 50th anniversary. And of course, you know, if you sign up to get it, they're going to ask you for a donation. You can donate whatever you want. I encourage you to donate, but go ahead and donate to places like that. I also have, as a part of my, and I got to get my links back up here because I inadvertently closed them. So hold on just a moment here while I get this up for the episode. And okay, so one of the other things that is out there too, in terms of places where you can go for conservative info, is also a place called Campus Reform. Campusreform.org is the website address. Again, it's in the description. They have some free periodicals or articles that they've brought out, and mostly Campus Reform mostly deals with college campuses. And as we all know, college campuses have turned into indoctrination places. And so what Campus Reform does is it in one of their particular PDFs that their digital PDFs that they send out, has to deal with being able to arm yourself and ready yourself in case some of those, well, we'll just call them liberal people out there who are liberal activists approach you and try and cut you down in terms of your conservative values. And so they're one of their periodicals, they go through and they actually break down each argument into several steps. And if you read these things, it's 1 page per argument, or per topic. And there's probably, I don't know, I can't remember how many there are in there, but there's like 5 or 6 or so topics. But if you go to campusreform.org, all one word, all lowercase, and go to about the middle of the page, there's a place where you can sign up and it will send you the PDF for this. Another place, ironically, out of Stanford University is called the Hoover Instution. And the Hoover Instution is at www.hoover.org. And they provide some leaflets, small pamphlets of information and things like that, that you can download. They're PDF, they're free, and they deal with conservative topics. And so that's another one. And then, of course, I've been talking a lot about the Bongino Report, Dan Bongino podcast. He has, I found, especially over the last couple of years, I never really listened to him up until COVID hit. And then I started looking around and trying to find, places and sources of information. I stumbled upon his before he started the radio program, and I actually started listening to his podcast. And I found that a lot of the things that he talks about and things that he correlates in terms of information comes out to where they are actually correct. And so the more that I listened, the more I became a fan. And so he is one of my go-tos daily outside of the aforementioned and obvious Mark Kaye show. But the thing about the Bongino Report is the Bongino Report he created as an alternative to the Drudge Report. And of course, Dan Bongino is a part owner in Rumble. He's left YouTube. He exclusively goes to Rumble, and the free speech alternative to YouTube. And so, you have to watch his videos there, but he also does the audio portion of the podcast and spreads that around kind of like I do. You can go to like Spotify or any other place where you get your podcasts for the audio, but he does a lot of things on the program where he puts in video, and he does a similar thing to what I do. And actually that might be where I got it, was, showing articles and things like that. Obviously he's got a whole production crew and everything else, so he's doing it much better than I am, but it is what it is. And I've got links in the description for this video for the Bongino Report, for Bongino.com, which is where the podcast is. And then, of course, his Rumble channel, rumble.com/Bongino as well. I also have a link for the Epoch Times. I mentioned that was my go-to newspaper. Now, obviously, the final one, I'm going to give him some time here because he gave me some time earlier, but we have... And I printed it out specifically for this show. We have the wonderful Patriot Manifesto. This is Mark Kaye's 7 ways to stop the lunatic left and have fun doing it. This is a great little thing in here. He's got some really good points. It's very, very short, very concise. But one of the things that he talks about here in terms of conservatives is we need to make sure that if the left is happy, then we shouldn't be. And he also talks about how if for the 7 steps are for things like doing something like this, finding conservative outlets, and that's sort of what sparked my interest in the show, but to be informed and to find places for truth. And hopefully you like this podcast, this particular podcast here. And, I'm growing. I'm very, very small, but I'm growing, and I appreciate every single one of you. But this was one of the things that he's talking about, is finding videos, TV shows from patriots who you trust are telling it the way it really is. This is, and that's taking your time each day. This is in the Patriot Manifesto, listening to podcasts, from people who are trying to spread conservatism and not lunatic lefty propaganda, and read websites that bring you the news and just the news, free from politics and opinions. And then, of course, know as much as you can about the politicians you support, et cetera, et cetera. So that sort of sparked this whole idea of, it's little things like that. It's little things like going out and taking time out of your day to listen to people who you trust, who you know is going to try and bring you the truth. Now, I'm not going to say that I am know-it-all on anything. I really am not. But I can tell you that I do tend to, when I look at a topic or something like that, I tend to delve deep. I tend to research. I try to look at it from different perspectives. And so I'm going to try and give you the most information that I possibly can in a small amount of time, of course, because I've got to be cognizant of the fact that you usually are only here with me for about an hour on Saturdays. But I am going to do everything I can to provide you with information that I believe that you need to know on a very wide different topics. And, we need to all stand together as conservatives. We need to stand together, and we cannot, under any circumstances, let the left bully us into submission anymore. We've been doing that for 30, 40 years. We've tried appeasement. Okay. Our politicians have tried appeasement. That's where those rhinos are coming into play. They try to do those back alley deals and things like that, and they try to appease. No more. That's done. The day of acquiescing to their demands is over. We need to start standing up. And I talked about this last episode. So just do me a favor. Just try some of those places out. If you haven't gone to any of those conservative places, try them out. Give them a shot. Take a look. Take a read. You may not like it. That's fine. But give it at least a try, because realistically, our society is such that right now, trying to find conservative outlets for information and for entertainment and that kind of thing, like the Daily Wire as an example. The Daily Wire is launching, as far as entertaining, they're launching non-woke content. And so, take a chance, go to Daily Wire, subscribe. It's probably going to be something where you're going to have to subscribe to these channels and subscribe to these places. But to be honest with you, the alternative of being a part of the brainwashed masses that seem to be out there is, frankly, to me, it's a bit ludicrous. It's ludicrous to do that. And so, go and watch shows that you trust. And one of the shows that I've mentioned multiple times, and I've said this, one of the shows that I've watched on multiple occasions is the Mark Kaye Show. And I've joined in on the chat. So this past Monday, they did something, and I will forever be grateful to them for this. Check this out. So I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to drop this. I'm going to disappear here for a second, but check this out. I've been beaming all week, and this was something that was just absolutely really cool. I got to kind of set this up before I get this going. So what Mark Kaye does is he does a radio broadcast. It's syndicated to, 4 or 5 stations across the U.S. Out of his home in Jacksonville on WOKV, as well as several others like in Ohio and that kind of stuff. Now, during the breaks, so he also streams. He streams on Rumble, he streams on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, I think, not Twitter, but Twitch and LinkedIn. And during his breaks, we get what I would consider an exclusive behind the scenes look of what's going on within the Mark Kaye Show. Well, one of the things that they do is they'll actually go and they'll read out from the various platforms that they stream to, they'll read out some of the chats. And I happen to be fortunate on Monday to have caught the eye of one of the producers. His name is Josh. And the other producer is Hannah. She won't be in the picture immediately, but she'll come in. And one of my chat statements happened to catch Josh's eye. And so he called it to the attention of Mark. Now, keep in mind their breaks. This one was a long break. So there is a section in there where they did some, shall we say, some station work in there that I've cut out. So if it looks like the video hops toward, probably a couple minutes in, that's the reason why. It was not edited for content. This is the full content of what's going on. So take a look at this. Check this out. I'm ecstatic about this, but I'm going to go ahead and disappear, and then we're going to play the clip. So hold on just a second and take a listen to this.
Whiskey Musing says, unfortunately, I expect Washington will go blue regardless since we have the easily manipulated all mail-in voting. Whiskey Musing also apparently has a bit of a following on Rumble.
Whiskey Musing. I follow Whiskey Musing on Rumble.
Oh, do you?
Do I? Maybe I don't.
He said he just passed 500. Whiskey
Whoa.
Musing, what do you do on Rumble?
Muses
Do
about
you
whiskey,
muse
I would imagine.
about whiskey? What is your favorite whiskey? I recently had a bourbon called Widow Jane, and I haven't had many bourbons.
Like Whittle Jane? Like a little Whittle Jane?
Like a little bit of Jane. No, like
look, there's Whiskey Musings. Subscribe. Oh, look. The Twists of Twitter tabled me. Oh, the Twits of Twitter. Oh, it looks like it's about whiskey, but it's about politics.
Oh, is he a bunch of anecdotes?
What do you mean?
Like just puns about whiskey and...
I mean, here, go see for yourself.
Oh, wait, I just got a note from Keith.
Keith, wait,
what was I saying?
Doing? Oh, I was looking for Whiskey Musings on
Oh,
Rumble.
yeah.
I was gonna...
You ever forget what you're saying and then do something and then forget what
like
else you're
all
saying?
the time. Whiskey Musing.
And then your wife will say, you were saying this, and then you still forget what you were saying?
Yeah, something like that. Here. Here's a little sample. Drill, baby, drill. Cool hat.
Are we playing some musings by whiskey?
I was going to, but it says there's zero. Believe that one? Let's try this one. It starts in 5 minutes.
What starts in 5 minutes?
Whiskey Musings.
Vote people out or vote new people in. There has to be another way. And
like
fortunately, our forefathers created such a path, and it's created such a path for us, and it's in Article 5 of the Constitution. So let me bring that up, and
let me bring that up.
We'll bring it up, and let's just go ahead and...
Did he bring it up?
He brought it up.
Oh, wow.
Dude, it's like high tech.
We don't ever bring it up.
Right?
We never bring anything.
We could bring it up.
That's great.
That'd be all you, probably. It's all going to be done with that computer.
Yeah, that's just an added
like if you could probably link your iPad, and so when you're scrolling through an article, they can see it with you. But I guess that's the whole point of you reading the article is they don't need to scroll.
Hold on, wait. This is a Christmas special. I want to see the Christmas special.
It's probably called Eggnog Musings.
Oh, it says 0. Whiskey Musings. Why does some of yours say 0?
0 what time?
Yeah, 0 time. What's the second one? All right, let's try the
Maybe
last
he was
one.
going to go live and
Let's go
never
to the
did.
Twits of Twitter. There we go.
Into the digital radios.
Oh, he's in a...
He's got a pleasant voice.
Yeah, he's got some casks in the background.
Is that Whiskey Musing's voice?
Yeah.
We're on his Rumble page right now.
That's cool.
15 seconds.
Oh.
I know what that is.
Oh, I love it. I love that. We got to add that to our intro.
That's the nectar
Oh, is that his
of the
intro?
gods, baby.
Yeah, it's part of his intro.
The Ice on Rocks.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the #1 liquid-fueled, liquid-lubricated. That was a little bit of a delay.
Oh. I love that.
Okay, so that was my 15 minutes of fame on the Mark Kaye Show. I have to admit, I got a bump out of that. I did, I was able to get a hold of some new subscribers. I went from about 127-ish up to 153. So to all you Patriots that are out there, thank you very much. I humbly thank you from the bottom of my heart that you are here, that you are taking your time to come here and listen to me essentially do the things that I do. And I am definitely appreciative of the fact that Josh, for whatever reason, you could call it an intervention from a higher power, whatever you want to say. But he happened to read that, and then, of course, happened to know that I had mentioned that I passed 500 rumbles just a few statements before or something like that. I don't remember. I think I said that, though, way early in the show, and that was actually out at like the 2-hour mark. He does like 3 hours every day, Monday through Friday. Hannah is from the great state of Washington, and she, so, you know, she's a little bit of a kindred spirit there, but I do appreciate it. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate all my subscribers. And I wanted to end the night on that. It really made my day. It made my day. It was a Monday. And it really made my day. So if the Mark Kaye Show happens to watch this, Mark, thank you very much. Josh, thank you very much. Hannah, you're looking as beautiful as always. And hopefully we'll see you guys on Monday, without any, interruptions like Josh's being sick, for a couple of days, but that was Wednesday, last week, I think. So that is just incredible. And that's what I mean by the little things. I mean, it may not have seemed like a lot to them, but to someone like myself who is trying to make a go out of all of this, it was a huge deal. It was something small for them, but it was absolutely huge, for me to have that happen on essentially a well-known conservative, podcaster, and that kind of stuff, to be recognized. And of course, immediately after he followed me, everybody else kind of followed me too. So hopefully you'll see this, you'll go back, you'll look at that, and that was just awesome. So thank you very much. Can't be more appreciative of that. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up the program. And that was my final Whiskey Musings thought for the evening. Do me a favor. If you enjoy the topics and the information that I present to you, go to one of my outlets and subscribe. I prefer Rumble. That is the free speech alternative to YouTube. And that is where most of my people go. I do prefer there, but I do also transmit on YouTube for as long as they'll let me, Facebook for as long as they'll let me. And of course, if I ever get out of Twitter jail, I'll be transmitting back on Twitter once again, provided that happens sometime in the near future. Maybe Elon Musk will pick it up and then all of this will be taken care of. Also, as you can see, I've got my social media showing up again. And so do follow me on social media. I don't post as often as I used to, but I do post things. I post funny memes most of the time, criticizing our wonderful president in name only, I guess. Pino is what Dan Bongino says. Biden. But I also post some other fun stuff as well. And also, just so you know, again, buddy, I keep picking on you because you put up the right stuff, but check this out. I am doing this now. There is the chat feature that I told you about. I'm excited about this. I don't think you guys understand what this does for me as a content creator and engagement with my audience. So if you type something really clever or whatever, I'll be highlighting it up there. And if you get to a point where, especially on Rumble, if you decide to do what's called a super rant sometime in the near future or maybe late future, who knows? But if you do that, I can also pull those up as well and put them up. So that pretty much ends the show. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Do me a favor. Again, like I said, subscribe, but also my 100%, all of what everybody has been doing. I've got to thank Buddy because he's really pushed this, but just talk to people. Tell them if you like the show, if you like what I do here, tell somebody. Because if I can get 10 people to tell 10 other people, and even one of those 10 people subscribe, that's a 10 times increase in numbers, not necessarily 10 times, but that's 10 more people that come in. So, do me a favor. If you like what's going on, talk to somebody, pass it around, let everybody know. And we'll see you next weekend on the Whiskey Musings broadcast. Good night, everybody. And have a wonderful weekend, Patriots. We'll see you next week.